In this video, we'll be taking a look at 6 NFL games, and I'll break them all down with free winning picks so you can bet smarter and win bigger. But first, smash that subscribe button and ring the bell so you get our picks the second they drop, because when the lines move, the early birds cash in. And if you want the full winning sport picks experience, head over to wspicks.com and check out our VIP packages, or grab a free consultation with one of our professional sports consultants for the sharpest edge you'll find anywhere. That's where the real plays live. We are your bookmaker's worst nightmare. These are the games we're hammering, the ones the books can't afford you to bet. This is Winning Sport Picks. The free picks are about to drop, and they're coming in hot. New England and Tampa Bay meet in a matchup that always carries that push and pull dynamic between methodical pace and sudden volatility. New England's best identity comes from forcing games into long drives, slow accumulation, and a rhythm that demands opponents stay patient. When the field shrinks and possessions extend, New England thrives on making the opponent uncomfortable with each incremental situation. Tampa Bay, however, is built to steal back tempo, relying on a flow that accelerates once they find early rhythm. Their path is always about generating a margin through pressure moments, turning midfield stalls into scoring range, and controlling momentum swings. This game shapes up like a battle of who dictates gears, slow grinding structure, or flexible tempo. Situationally, this becomes about who avoids the early mistake, because the first team forced off script usually becomes the one chasing the rest of the night. Giants in Chicago is a matchup built on emotional swings, crowd rhythm, and field position leverage. The Giants often need games to stay manageable early to remain at their best. When they're allowed to trade possessions without falling behind, their structure holds up well late. Chicago, on the other hand, leans into games where momentum stacks, where a couple of good drives snowball into full control stretches. What makes this meeting interesting is the psychological layer. Both teams tend to look drastically different depending on scoreboard state. Whoever generates the first separation usually plays freer, while the other tightens up and becomes predictable. This is one of those matchups where the middle quarters become everything. Arizona versus Seattle carries that divisional familiarity tension where both sides know how the other wants to operate. Arizona tends to flourish when chaos enters the game. Broken rhythm, unexpected swings, and matchups that become more about adaptability than system. Seattle is the opposite. They want structure, controlled drives, and a game that gradually leans their direction. These two styles crashing creates volatility, and volatility favors the team less reliant on scripted flow. Travel, urgency, and situational consistency shift this into a contest decided by which side handles misfortune better. Penalties, field position flips, and stalled drives. The one that absorbs those punches without losing identity usually wins these divisional grinders. Detroit and Washington brings a clear contrast between a team that thrives when playing downhill versus a team that needs disorder to pull opponents into uncomfortable spaces. Detroit wants to apply pressure early, seize control of possession flow, and dictate field geography. When they're in front, they look like one of the most settled teams in football. Washington, though, becomes dangerous when the game loses form, when unexpected breaks appear, and they can capitalize on loose edges. Their best moments come from flipping situations that opponents assume are safe. This turns into a test of discipline for Detroit and a test of resilience for Washington. Rams versus San Francisco is always defined by structure, adjustments, and the momentum chess of two teams that know every detail about each other. The Rams thrive when they're able to create balance and make defenses defend the full width of the field. San Francisco looks their best when they tilt matchups physically and impose their preferred pace. These games regularly come down to whoever sets the tone in the trenches early. Not necessarily in scoring, but in rhythm. Once one side captures the long drive momentum, the other spends the rest of the game fighting uphill. Pittsburgh versus the Chargers shapes up as a matchup where physicality meets volatility. Pittsburgh relies heavily on forcing games into uncomfortable, low-margin battles where each possession feels weighted. The Chargers are at their best when the game opens, when rhythm builds, and they can string together multiple scoring opportunities without disruption. The psychological layer is massive. If the Chargers fail to create early flow, they tend to get stuck. If Pittsburgh gets dragged into a back-and-forth tempo game, they lose their edge. This matchup becomes a tug-of-war of environment. Who bends the game into their preferred world? Now listen to me, those are the free picks, but the one game I am unloading on tonight, the game that's going to crush your bookie's soul, that's the VIP play of the day at WSPicks.com. This is the nuke, the hammer, the max bet, the one play I've circled, the game that will bury your bookmaker 6 feet under. When it hits, and it will, your bookie is going to need a doctor, a lawyer, and maybe even a priest. If you want to ride with me on the biggest bet of the day, get to WSPicks.com right now. Now let's recap the picks for today's games. New England plus 2.5, under 48.5. Giants plus 5, under 46.5. Arizona plus 7, under 44.5. Detroit minus 7.5, under 49. Rams plus 5.5, under 49.5. Pittsburgh plus 3, under 45. This is Winning Sport Picks, where we don't just bet, we bury bookmakers. Smash that subscribe button, drop your favorite plays in the comments, and hammer that like button like you're hammering your bookie into the dirt. We're cashing, we're dominating, and tonight we're dancing on the grave of your bookmaker. Let's go!